allowing for highly trained professional mobility within ASEAN, but it's a trickle. We hope that it builds up more and it can be more active. As Nilim said, tourism is the bright spot, but it's a very thin amount of highly skilled professionals. And as I mentioned to you earlier today, the majority of the migration are low-skilled professionals. So there's a lot more ASEAN can do to address, probably more critically, how to address the mobility of low-skilled migrants within ASEAN, much more than the high-skilled, and that will really capture a lot more in terms of absolute quantity of migrants. But again, the message that we delivered this afternoon is the same. Migrants in the recipient country can add great value added to your economy. They can increase your economy's productivity, and they can actually increase employment. And hence, when you take migrant policies as a whole, not just a specific subset at the highest extreme, usually those that can really move in and out of borders relatively easier, certainly than the low-skilled people, it misses the point of getting the maximum gains of migrants. I think that's the way I would answer your question. Thank you.
Sure. And it's true that a lot of the refugees, they've been residing in Thailand for a long time. UNHCR, I'm sure IOM and many NGOs are also stuck with the fact that they have to. They're stuck with the host country. And why is the process so slow? The Falun Gong members and all that have been here for years.
Understood.
Okay.
Starting with this year, the biggest migration crisis that the world has ever seen, and the focus is on Europe, and it's right, because it is such a huge migration queue. But in the Asia-Pacific region, there is already more than 5.5 million refugees from Syria, in Turkey, in the various countries, neighbors like Lebanon and Jordan. But in Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, there are more than 5.5 million refugees from Syria and Afghanistan of the same type, the same nature, escaping from conflicts of war. So Asia Pacific also is beginning this refugee crisis from Syria in a big way. Today's discussion that we focused on some other minority refugees beyond the Syrians, like the Rohingyas, like the Pakistanis, and what the countries like where we are living in Thailand can do to better their cause. But really our discussion was much more about how countries can benefit from migrants when you treat migrants well. And that really is the thesis that we are putting forward today.
They've always been criticized or been commented about the overall condition of how they take care for these refugees. It's not an easy job too, but the process, it's a host country. What is your thought on that in terms of, when Thailand is stuck in the middle of Southeast Asia, we have to, it's taxpayers' money anyway, to feed these, to feed the refugees. A lot of people are not very happy too. So,
I understand very well. I understand how Thais would feel if taxpayer money is used to provide social services to migrants, or migrants are not adding value to Thailand. But the UN study really showed that when you assimilate migrants into your economy, they are value-adding and very productive members of the economy. Their children, when you take them to school and educate them, when you give them health services, they bring more value added to the economy than they take away. So when host countries like Thailand treat your migrants well, like you do your Thai people, the whole economy benefits. And there's a clear link between them. So what I'm saying is, unlike what most people think, that migrants tend to reduce wages, take away jobs, in fact they do the opposite. They tend to create more high-income jobs, high-skilled jobs, where they take the low-skilled jobs. So really, The trick is to assimilate them into your economy as full members of your economy, and everybody grows. When you treat them as secondary citizens, as outside the formal economy, they remain there and they become a deadweight loss to society. And that's why you have your comments. They're expensive. Why should we take care of them? Because they're not productive.
Yes, okay. You're referring to skilled migrants.
No, I'm not. I'm referring to low-skilled labor.
Why would they be?
Because they will do a lot of the employment that many Thai people are unwilling to do. Or they will do labor things where they require, they're hazardous, they're undesirable, and migrants fill that role eagerly. So there's a whole spectrum on the employment scale where they fill, and I'm talking clearly about low-skilled laborers and how much positive benefits they can actually do for host
Would you say Australia is one of the?
I have to believe, but there's so many Chinese and so blended that you can't even make a distinction. We are all migrants, some country. And I think being migrants is what makes economies strong, because not only diversity, but the value added that they bring.
What about the Chinese and the Indians, according to the report? It's the largest influx of Chinese and Indian migrants into Asia Pacific and everywhere in the world.
No, I don't think that was the conclusion of the report. The Chinese and Indians account for the largest amount of international students. They are really focused on education and skilled personnel. So I think it's a different story. In fact, China is doing on the high end of all the migrants, and they're a recipient of you more so than a migrant.